Let me shut some of these windows down.
It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. Broken glass everywhere. People on the stage, you know they just don't care. I can't take the smell, can't take the noise. Got no money to move out, I guess I got no choice. Rats in the front room, roaches in the back, junkies in the alley with the baseball bat. I tried to get away, but I couldn't get far, cause a man with a tow truck repossessed my car. Don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. Standing on the front stoop, hanging out the window, watching all the cars go by, roaring as the breezes blow. A crazy lady living in a bag, eating out of garbage pails. Used to be a fag hag, such a dance to tango. Skipped the life and tango. A zircon princess seemed to lost her senses. Down at the peep show, watching all the creeps, so she could tell her stories to the girls back home. She went to the city and got so diddy. She had to get a pimp, she couldn't make it on her own. Don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, it's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It's your nighttime, right time DJ Music. Welcome to another episode of the Chop Shop. As much as I hate to do it there, ladies and gentlemen, I got to jump into the political arena, because I've been hearing some stuff, not only in mainstream, but I've been hearing some stuff in them YouTube streets too, about people talking about, the Biden and the Trump situation. Of course, we know now that a former president for the first time has been convicted of 34 counts. Not just counts, but felony counts. But still, he's the presumptive front runner for the nominee for presidential candidate coming up in this election in 2024. So a whole lot of things going on, but it seems to me that from what I've heard about this country, once you're a convicted felon, you lose a whole lot of rights. I don't think there's anybody that's in jail right now that's been convicted of some of the crimes that Donald Trump and his cronies have been convicted of, that feel that they're in jail, feel right now that they should be there, since this is not supposed to be a two-tier justice system. And I know this is getting into the political sphere a little bit. Well, sometimes you have to. But I think Donald Trump is the classic example of the two-tier justice system. Not only did he threaten judges, he threatened witnesses. Not only did he was he convicted of raping E. Jean Carroll. Not only was he found guilty of 34 felony counts, but still, people are saying that this man has the right or should be allowed to run for the highest office in the land. This is the state of the political arena. And to do that, ladies and gentlemen, they're counting on our black vote. They're counting on us. So much so that Biden and Trump, even Trump, went into Harlem and Brooklyn trying to recruit black folks. They tell us our vote is not important. But anyway, folks, I'm getting a little bit long-winded. Before I go any further, let me drop on in and say hello to my co-host and my ex-boom coon, my right-hand partner that keeps me in line so I don't get too far off the track when I'm talking about these loose Negroes. I try to keep it clean for political PC purposes. Shaw Willie, how you doing, Shaw? Come on in. Say hello to everybody.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I tell you what you think about the state of the political arena? I know we talked behind the scenes earlier, and I was asking you about my air conditioner, but I need to turn it off because not only do I hear that, I hear humming in the background. That's kind of irritating. So go ahead and answer my question while I scoot over here right quick, like.
All right. Hey, Zero, how are you doing? All right. And then to answer your question, you got to think this is a new world in a different order. That's what we're dealing with now. Those felonies are the lowest ones that are available or are there. So he got those. And if you can get migrants, let me see, they're not called migrants. They got a nice word for them now. What is that? I'll just say undocumented people. If they're allowed and they will, got some wiggle room in there so they can vote, then you're going to be able to have a person with 30 some counts felonies, threats, and all those things that you mentioned be on the ballot to let the people decide.
Yeah, I understand, and I'm with you on that. You're right. The people should decide, but me, I'm like, I think I'm in it with the majority of a lot of people. Yeah, you're right, letting the people decide, but how can the people decide? They say we're a country of law and order, and yeah, and when you're convicted of a crime, you serve your debt to society. But it seems to me, why even go through all the red tape of trying to convict Donald of a crime? Seems to me the whole purpose of it was to stop him from becoming president. What was the purpose of all the trials if he's still allowed to become president of the United States?
Well, they just wanted to get back at him, but definitely saying, hey, something has to be done. But as far as being on the ballot, well, he might just be there.
Well, I mean, in a lot of states, since they say the states run the ballots, a lot of states now that he's a convicted felon, I think a lot of them might go back and revisit their constitution, so to speak. And speaking of constitution, I had a conversation about that. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But I think the states themselves are eventually going to have to make a decision: do they want Donald Trump on their ballot now that he's a convicted felon? I mean, there's several reasons that they can. I know some folks say, well, he was those there shouldn't have been felony convictions, but you have to look at it. Those he was convened by a grand jury.
Hmm.
Uh, they saw enough evidence to say, okay, let's go ahead and take him to trial. They
Hmm.
went through hundreds of people that either were for Donald Trump or against Donald Trump, because both sides were able to choose juries,
Correct.
jurors.
Hmm.
Those juries. Now, one thing that stuck out to me, and it stuck out to a whole lot of people. It's hard to convince 12 people to come to a general consensus on two things, much less 34 things. This verdict was unanimous,
Hmm.
hands down. So again, this was a jury of his peers. New York is his stumping ground that found him guilty. What part of the judicial system did not work in this case?
It worked.
It
It
worked
literally
as
worked.
right. It worked to perfection. So my question to all the Donald Trump supporters, that they say that we are a country of law and order, that we do things the correct way, that we don't storm the Capitol, that we don't um, uh, get fake elector schemes and different things like that. If we don't do all of that,
Hmm. How did
then
we get here? Hmm.
right, how did we get here? We got
Well,
here because of what? Go ahead, go right ahead.
I'm I'm with you on it, but also I'm looking at what's going on as far as this immigration thing. I'm looking at all the schemes, scams the money being used. So at this point, nothing is really surprising me.
Well,
It really
nothing.
isn't.
Right, nothing is even today as we speak right now. Just what 24, 48 hours ago, Biden had an executive order to close the southern border. Of course, a couple of years ago, they heckled Donald Trump for doing the very same thing. So there's got to be there's got to be some reason. Here we started off this broadcasting thing talking about migrants. Well, okay, well, migrants are not even in the news anymore. They haven't stopped coming. They're just not in the news anymore.
Right. That's true. It's still coming.
They're still coming. They're coming in droves. Believe me, they're still coming.
Because what the last thing I seen about them coming in, what Biden was talking about, he had signed something to slow down the
Right,
amount that was coming in, but
right.
they were still coming in.
Right. That was right. That was what 2-3 months ago when he signed that order to slow it down. Even though Republicans decided that they didn't want to go through with that bipartisan bill for better border security. So Biden signed that order to say that they'll just slow down the amount of people. That was like 2-3 months ago. Now he's at the point of saying even slowing down didn't work. They still coming. We got to do something. Hey, Zero, what's going on, my man? How you living? It's been a while, man. Hope everything's been well with you. But again, folks, I know what you asking what the migrants has to do with it. It has everything to do with them because with them, their bodies.
Yeah.
For both sides. Some of the migrants that come here might vote on the Democratic side, and some might vote on the Republican side. Some of them might be MAGA supporters. I don't know how they're going to talk about making America great again when they just got here. How you know?
Well, we had a show where there was some papers being sent out and posted around. So I guess that's how they know. They've been told.
Hey, Shaw, you and I, we pass little news footage to each other throughout the week. I don't know if I sent this to you or you sent it to me. There was some Somalis that milked the government for over how many thousands of millions of dollars?
Shoot, too many to count. It was a large amount in
right.
Minnesota.
Right, and then in order to bribe the jury or the judge or whatever, they just drop some cash off at the front door. Here, take this and be quiet.
Yeah, I think it was 120,000. I'm like,
Right.
dang, it had to be kind of heavy. It was a
Right.
woman that delivered it.
Right, just dropped it on the front porch.
Dang.
But again, folks, this all ties into as our title said, this is politics in Black America. We have some politicians like Tim Scott that that literally asked Tim Scott, which is the Republican senator from South Carolina. They literally asked him, if Donald Trump didn't win the election, would he say Donald Trump didn't win? He said, well, we would have to. What you mean we have to see? What you mean we have to see? After what? The elections on November 5th, so by the 7th or 8th, they've already declared who the winner is. We kind of know, but it's just kind of formalized within 48, 72 hours, kind of formalized it. But, just like we kind of knew that Biden whooped Trump's ass, even though they say Trump got a large number of votes, Biden got more. Right or wrong?
Yeah, according to the data, yes.
Right. No, I mean, whether you agree with Biden's policies or not, one thing you can say, folks, and I'm not Democratic, I'm not Republican, I'm just pro-American because this is my country. I was in the military for 10 years in defense of this country, so of course, I feel a little different than maybe than some folks, but. A lot of folks ask me now, and of course I talk to my military friends, and they all ask me, and I ask them the same question. If you were in the military and Trump was to send you to war, would you go? And I would have to say no, because I can't take the commander in chief knowing what I know about Trump not to be. If Biden sent me to war, it's a different set of circumstances.
Okay.
Right, right, Zero. Hey, Lana, how you doing? Good to see you. And you're absolutely right, Zero. Let me put this on the screen right here. And see that's another thing, folks. They hope that we, as black folks, they hope that we stay blind to politics, that we don't get involved in it, so they just can come in and throw us some tennis shoes at us. I gotta say this was fresh in my mind. I heard Republican Byron, whatever his last name is, I forgot. He compared black folks. He said almost exactly that we were better off under Jim Crow than we were now. I got that clip a little bit later on. If I can dig it up. That's the clip that I was talking about, Short. Can
I
you
heard that
believe
around the manosphere, so I'm not
it?
surprised.
Right. That's what I was about to say. I thought that was only a manosphere talking point. No, we got United States House of Representative folks that think that way, that we were better off under Jim Crow. What could a black man do under Jim Crow? What could a black woman do under Jim Crow? Nothing. How could we be better off? You got the nerve to be on Fox News amongst all them palm-colored folks, proudly sitting up there in your little brother's suit, saying some shit like that. Let me ask you, Short, from the political climate, do you see right now? I mean, you and I both are over 50 now. So do you see the political climate is no different from what's going over in some of these foreign countries?
Yeah.
There's no difference, is it?
No, not really.
Right. Well, they can't say we ain't got rioting, because we got rioting on college campuses the same way back in the 70s. There was rioting on college campuses. Remember Kent State? What's the difference? There's none. The political climate is no different now. They say we've never had a president before that's been accused of crimes. Where the hell y'all been? Do you not remember Watergate? The folks would like to watch movies. Have y'all not watched All the President's Men? Have y'all not gone through history and see how many times they tried to impeach Bill Clinton? How many times they had to stop people from at least throwing John F. Kennedy under the bus for the affairs that he was having?
Oh yeah.
You got to think about this, folks. I'm not at a point in time. I remember Charles Shaw. I said this. I said, unless Trump does something so egregious, I'm not going to do no more streams on him, because we should know better by now.
Right. I remember that.
This dude said one day that he would be a dictator for a day. You know what you can do to a country in 24 hours being a dictator? You know the radical followings that Trump has out here?
Wow.
And going back to what Zero said here, he said even if Trump gets convicted, he's only going to get 4 years. Right, absolutely. 4 years and a maximum $5,000 fine. That's why Trump is looking at this like, oh well.
He's not going to do any time, I promise you.
Right, they're not going to do right. They're talking about because of his age, but they don't lock up old folks. Better ask Bill Cosby.
They do, but they're not going to lock him up, though.
Right. I mean, they don't lock up old folks. Shit, they lock up broke old black men all the time. Hey, what's up, Stingray Cool? How you doing, good brother? They lock up black folks all the time, over the age of 50. Sure do. But that's crazy. I mean, convicted felon. I want y'all folks to think about this throughout the course of this particular stream. I want y'all to think about this. A convicted felon is the front runner for the highest office, the most powerfulest man in the world. This is what the United States of America will be known for from now on. That we have a man that's a convicted felon that's running for office. We're no different from what they so-called these banana republics. We're no different. We have voter suppression. Do we not, Shaw?
We do.
Okay. We have Trump saying that you could kill your political opposition, and you become and say it's because of presidential immunity that he could do that. So what if Joe Biden was to say that right now? According to what Trump wants, what if Joe Biden says that he wants that right now? Couldn't he go and unalive Trump?
If that's the case, if you're going to go by that.
What is the difference?
Right.
If
he'll have something to say about it, though.
Right. If the president has, if he has presidential immunity, immunity is immunity. He says Trump is stressing it's for the presidency. He should not be charged with the crimes that he did while he was in office. But let's talk about that, folks. Let's talk about the crimes that Trump did in office. He could not get rid of those. He could not do those crimes on his own. And everybody around Trump that so-called himself in the political arena is either in jail or has been charged with something, from his lawyers to political figures have been charged with something.
You know, people spent a lot of money with lawyers and everything, so they went broke dealing with him.
Rudy Giuliani, he was known as the mayor of New York for one time. He was known as America's mayor at one time or the other. Celebrated. Now we know him as a broken down old man that was in a porno flick with some dye running down the side of his hair.
Oh no, not the wow.
Right, bow chicka wow wow.
Oh no. I used to enjoy seeing him on Saturday Night Live when he made appearances.
Yeah. But think about, again, Charlotte, think about this in the political arena. Think about what he did to throw his entire life away. His entire life. Because of Rudy Giuliani is why we have the RICO Act. He took down the mob. The mob. Yeah. But again, folks, we got a president of the United States. Now, again, I'm going to continue to say it. That says that he can do what he wants. And because he can do what he wants, he can run for president again. But what he's going to do, the first thing that he's going to do when he gets into office, he says, I am your retribution.
Oh. Uh-oh.
So what does that mean?
That sounds like the big payback.
Right. Got to get ready for the big payback. It's where I land. Ow! But somebody going to be doing, ow!
Right.
As we said in the military, be hoka, bend over, head come. If Trump gets back in office, do you know how many people he's going to go after?
Everybody. Because he that's one thing about him. That's his character you see on the shows that he used to be on. And you know that about him.
He's very vengeful, isn't he?
Yeah.
A lot of people say Trump decided a long time ago to become in the political arena. No, I think Trump decided to try to become president because Obama embarrassed him at that press corps White House dinner. Obama embarrassed him, and he vowed vengeance. So much so that he still thinks at times that he's running against Obama. This dude thinks, y'all can laugh if you want to, but he thought that Frederick Douglass was still alive. He thought Sojourner Truth was on the Soul Train. See now, can you do your Trump voice for me for a minute?
Hello, Stevie.
President Trump, I appreciate you dropping in for a second. Hey, listen, let me ask you. Why did you think that Sojourner Truth was still alive?
Well, they want to put her on money, so thought she was just so special. She's still alive.
But what? Okay, but what made you think the Soul Train and the Underground Railroad was the same?
Isn't that what you people do?
Oh,
Hoo-hoo! Love, peace, and soul.
okay. One more. Since you used the phrase "you people," there. I don't know what to call you. And since you used the phrase "you people," I heard through the grapevine that you used the hard N word here.
Look here, Stevie Music. You play the songs. You know what people say. Don't be surprised. Why can't I say it too?
But Mr. Trump, Donald, they don't deny that they said, but you said you've never said it. Just like you said, okay. Well, let's get away from that, Mr. Trump. Did you never say that you should lock Hillary up?
I know she should be locked up.
No, that's not what I'm asking you. I'm asking you, did you ever say that?
I don't remember. I don't recall. That's what
my
attorney told me. I don't recall.
What if there's several instances of recorded tape live of you saying, and there's actually a couple of them with you leading the cheer saying, "Lock her up."
I don't recall.
Okay.
You have any footage of this, Stevie?
Of you saying "lock her up"?
Yes.
It's several. I didn't bring any with me, so because
I didn't think you. I didn't think
this
so.
is an unexpected experience.
Yeah,
but
I didn't think so. Yeah.
But but there's several clips of you saying "lock her up," Mr. Trump.
You know about accusations,
Yeah.
Accusations.
So you gonna hold on? You gonna hold on to that?
Accusations.
Okay, Mr. Trump. Listen, can I ask you? Listen, can you replay this first clip? I don't know if you know this sportscaster. His name is Colin Coward. You ever heard of him before?
He's a coward?
No, his name is Colin Coward. He's a sportscaster. He used to be on ESPN, but he's on Fox Sports 1 or whatever.
Fox. No, I don't do anything with Fox. There's fake news.
You don't like Fox News no more?
No, fake news.
Okay. Okay. Well, before we go any further, folks, before I show you this clip, of course, it's going to be fair use. Fair use, please. It's for teaching, parody. As you see, we're covering the politics. So what you're about to see is I took the voice of Colin Coward, Mr. Trump, and I put a little background to it, but I'm going to stop it when we need be necessary to. But I want y'all to hear what he had to say about Mr. Trump and his legion of followers that said that Trump got a raw deal in this particular trial he just went through. Fair use. Let me start this over here. All right.
Independent. I'm kind of a conservative on fiscal issues. More of a probably liberal. I don't know. I don't think pro-gay marriage is liberal. I don't think pro-pot is liberal. I think those are moderate stances today. But I was in, supportive of those 25 years ago. So I kind of consider myself a moderate, that if I am up in the air on something fiscally, I'd go conservative. Socially, I'd go left. But, I've said this about Trump before. He's trying to sell me an America that doesn't exist. Like, I'm 60. I don't remember anything before like 6 or 7 years old. But for the last 53 years of my life, outside of the pandemic year, I've loved America. I've lived everywhere. Tampa, Vegas. I've been kind of poor, middle class. Now I'm better off than most. But he's trying to sell me this America stinks, and I just don't see it. I live in a nice neighborhood in LA. It's not a top 6 or 7 neighborhood.
What you think about that part right there, Shar? You think some folks are trying to tell you that America is on a decline purposely? You heard this statement right there. Your thoughts on that statement?
I'm wondering what he's trying to sell. He's trying to sell something. I'm just still listening to figure out what it is.
I think what he's trying to say, and for what I've gathered so far, that the America that Donald Trump is trying to push does not exist. Yeah, there are people out here that are struggling, but it's not to the point that Donald Trump is trying to push it. It's not to the point that the MAGA crowd wants you to believe.
Oh, okay. I would have had to hear what Trump had said so I could compare, because I know this guy was trying to sell something, so that's what it is. He's trying to say, oh, this is going on with me. All this is fine, but I didn't get the comparison of what Trump said. Gotcha. Okay.
Right.
In LA, it's not a Beverly Hills, a Malibu, a Brentwood, a Bel Air, Hancock Park. It's not like one of those swanky neighborhoods, but I don't see crime. I'm not stumbling over homeless people. I see happy people. Dodger Stadium's full. Leads Major League Baseball in attendance. Laker games are full. NFL games are full. They have money in their pocket. LAX is packed. I just saw a record airline revenue over the weekend. I'm
What do you think about that part, Shar? I'll have to agree with it right there.
I think he's pushing it. It's all of that. Well, he must be in a very affluent area.
Right. I think he's talking about an elite part of America. He's talking about the upper echelon of America, because if you notice, he said he was poor at one time, then he started doing well off, and then he starts saying, well, I'm doing better than most right now. And that's a sure sign of a man with a lot of money. So I think what he's starting to point out by saying these things, he lost sight of America, the real America, just like most folks with money, just like Donald Trump is. So at one point in time, I think the only reason you came out with this particular thing is because you and folks like you and Donald Trump, y'all see America one way, but the facts and reality is there are some people out there that are definitely in need, and it takes a crisis for you folks to understand that. And the crisis for white America right now is Donald Trump trying to win the presidency. Now you want to speak up, Colin? You get what I'm saying, Shar?
Oh yeah. I definitely.
Now you want to speak up, right? Has Malibu never been in existence? Has homeless folks never been in existence?
Talking about no crime and
Right.
Laker tickets and all that. I'm like, what?
Right. Who runs around talking about they bought some Laker tickets?
Okay.
Does the average American run around saying, "Hey, ABT, how you doing? Good to see you"? Does the average American person run around talking about, "Ooh, I got some Laker tickets"? Or do you hope it at your job? I sure hope my job come up with them damn football tickets they say they were going to come up with this year. Other than that, I ain't going.
I know that's right.
Have you folks ever been to, when's the last time any one of you have been to a professional football game, a professional basketball game? You bet not go there broke. I can tell you that. Tickets is out of this world. If you want some decent seats, if you get up in the nosebleed section, you might seem like you're falling down. Before Atlanta moved that stadium that they're in now, shit, if you was in the nosebleed section, you didn't move once you got up there, because it felt like you might fall over at any minute.
Right.
And those tickets weren't cheap. But a nosebleed section, popcorn, beer, everything, ain't nothing in there costs $1. Nothing. So again, I don't know too many people that take their hard-earned money, and of course, you get some people that that can afford that kind of lifestyle, but for the average American, going to the local pro football, pro basketball game is not on their agenda. Wouldn't you think so, Short?
I agree with you. Not on
Good.
the agenda.
Right, right. So I don't know, but let's listen to some more Mr. Colin here and see what else he has to say.
Constantly being sold in America by Donald Trump. Crime rates are skyrocketing. No, they're actually not. Starting in 2023, they have plummeted coast to coast, over 200 cities. Violent crime rates are down. I mean, Los Angeles and some cities may tick up in certain areas, but it's in America. He's selling me. It would be like watching your football team and they play well and win, and your neighbor says they're playing terribly and keep losing. No, they're winning and they're not playing terribly. Like, you can't keep selling me on how bad the country I live in is, because it's not bad for me or my friends. I have a friend that's a stay-at-home dad. He's not rich. I have friends who work part-time, starting up businesses.
Notice he said it's not bad for him and his friends. What kind of
Right.
friends do you have?
You must be talking about his other neighbors around him.
Right, right. Those people that are around you, those are the friends that you're talking about. See, again, when folks say that, when folks think they're doing something profound, when there's some folks that say, because this broke the internet, Short. This is the reason why I'm playing this. This broke the internet. And one phrase in there that broke the internet, that I seems that everybody paid more attention to that one particular mic drop moment, as they call it, than everything else that he said. Hey, Zero, you like that name too? I just seemed like she walked in the house and she just walked in and said, "Hey, what's up, baby? How you doing?" Ah, bitch, tired.
Ooh, child. It's been a rough day.
Ooh, child, I'm tired.
Take these shoes off. Woo.
Can't you picture Short, somebody leaning back, "Ooh, child, a bitch tired," leaning down, pulling the shoes off.
Right, I can see it now.
Anyway, folks, let's continue.
Who have worked at the same place forever. I have middle-class friends. They're not complaining about their life constantly, and I don't know what they are politically. I really don't. I don't talk about politics with my friends. I talk about my wife. I talk about sports. I talk about, we talk about guy stuff. So I'm not somebody that is, if you don't have policies that I connect with, and you're always grouching and bitching about the other side, I'm not really interested in you. Trump once tried to sell a vodka and acknowledges he never drank, ever. He's never really.
Okay, let's go back a little bit. He said he says he don't hang around people, basically that's like-minded to him. And I'll say that before myself. I don't hang around people that every time you see them, Short, all they want to do is bring you bad news. You know what I mean? I don't do that. I don't hang around people that always, every time you see them, as the old saying goes, is "Give me, can you lend me?" I don't hang around that type of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. So I will say that's a fair now. At that point, I don't know why too many people didn't point that out, but I'll agree wholeheartedly with that. You get around some folks, and every time you see them, you remember that old cartoon on the Flintstones, "Wowsy, wowsy, woo woo." Here you come see him. Something wrong with his car. Something wrong with his wife. His dog died. Shit, something happened.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
How you doing, man?
Oh, hell. Damn it. Here we go. But you kind of separate yourself from those guys. But, you get around and you get around like-minded folks. And I'm sure that's on both sides. You get around like-minded females, and I get around like-minded males. Where you find folks that you have some things in common with. If you call them your friends or acquaintances, you find that you have things in common with them. But you will separate yourself from that guy or that woman that comes around quick talking about, "Can I borrow?"
Yeah, I get tired of that.
Hey there, Zero. How you doing, good brother? Come on in.
Greetings.
Good evening there, Zero. What you want to add to the show, good brother? Zero, if you're talking, I can't hear you. Char, can you hear?
No, I think he's trying to connect.
Okay. All right. Let's play a little bit more of this. Zero, just type in the back chat when you or we'll try again and then we'll see what we got here. Or just say, hey, can y'all hear me?
Drank alcohol, but he tried to sell a vodka. So I've thought for a long time he's just kind of a con artist.
Yeah, let's think about that. I'm glad that's paused on that screen. Let's think about that. How you gonna trust somebody that tell you they don't drink vodka, but they're gonna tell you that's the best hot vodka in the world? How you know? Sean, can you answer that question?
It was in the script.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's the only reason. You don't drink. You'll never touch this stuff in your life. Matter of fact, you don't ever bring it around you. So, but you trying to sell it to me?
Yeah. It's in the script. I was told this is a great grain of alcohol, 80 proof, and don't give you a headache. Yeah, try it.
Well, at least at Club Shay Shay, at least you see him drinking his own damn product.
Okay.
Okay. At least he drink his own stuff there. But let's see what else O'Donnell tried to sell us.
But I was sitting there thinking this morning that if, let's say, I got busted for some really bad crime in court, a drug crime.
Okay.
And my wife did too, in a separate case.
Okay.
And then so did one of my kids, my manager, my agent, and my attorney.
Okay.
It would be reasonable to conclude that I'm shady and involved in a business that's not terribly legal. Well, Donald Trump is now a felon. His campaign chairman was a felon. So is his deputy campaign manager, his personal lawyer, his chief strategist, his national security advisor, his trade advisor, his foreign policy advisor, his campaign fixer, and his company CFO. They're all felons. Judged by the company you keep.
What say you on that, Zero? You want to try your mic again? You click here, put your mic on. Let's see if we can hear you. How you doing?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Go right ahead. Yeah, I can hear you. Go right ahead. How you doing, good brother?
I'm good. Yeah. I mean, of course, like he ain't been, he's technically not a felon yet, but of course he is. Once June 11 comes, then that'll be when it's finalized. But yeah. I mean, I see a lot of like people defend him, and like it sounds like from him and his friends, particularly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, it sounds like they have a good time. Let's say, well, like ain't nothing going on where they at. I'm like, dang, y'all must be the safest place in the world. Like,
right. Zero, let me give you a little just a little bit of pushback there, good brother. You said
all right, go ahead.
He said he's not it might not been found. No, he's a convicted felon. He just hasn't been sentenced yet, but he's been convicted.
Yeah,
he just hasn't been.
Yeah.
Sentenced.
That's what I was saying. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got when you're in them YouTube streets, you got to be careful.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah.
You got to be
you was like you want to tell.
Right.
Hold on. I said June 11, he gonna be officially convicted.
Right. Got to be more careful. But then again, you bring up a valid point, though. I mean, a convicted felon, he'll be sentenced. So let me ask you, Zero, do you think Trump will do any jail time? Do you think he should have jail time?
I don't think he's gonna do it because they're like saying because this is his first time doing it that they're going easy on him. Like the sentence ain't gonna be as harsh. Which I'm like, dang, it seems like everybody around him go straight to jail, but he somehow still out of it.
Right, and I find that kind of crazy. What about you, Shar? What do you think? Do you think Trump is going to go to jail? You think he'll get house arrest? What do you think will happen to Donald Trump come July 11th, the day of his sentencing?
I think it's going to be delayed, so it may not happen until it'll be a while before it happens. Probably, that's what I'm thinking.
And you think it'll be delayed? Why?
Politics. They're
Well,
doing it on purpose.
so they can get to the election.
Yeah.
And okay, so next question for you. Yeah, of course, it makes no difference to me how you vote, but both of you, what do you see, Zero? And I'll start with you. What do you see? How do you see Donald Trump's chances of becoming the president of the United States again?
Honestly, it's kind of in the air because I'm kind of hearing like before Biden got in, all I heard was people didn't like Trump. You might hear like a person then and here and there like support him now. Now I'm kind of hearing more people want to support Trump. I'm like, oh wow, okay.
Okay, so that brings me to my next point. So, what about the cavalier, the novelty ideas that people, us as black people, are supporting Trump? Charlotte, I'll let you go first with this one. We're supporting Trump not because of his politics, but because he's a convicted felon now, and he appeals more to us as black people because the man got his foot on his neck. Your thoughts on that?
I heard that before. I'm like, what? I don't know about any of that, but um, I would say you will have black men voting for him only because I've been hearing a lot
Be
of that.
careful now. Be careful.
Hey, I've been hearing it in the YouTube streets. I didn't make it up. I've been hearing a lot of that. I'm not hearing it from a lot of women, but I am hearing from a few women. They're like, hey, at this point, I don't even care. Biden got to go. And then, in my opinion, the migrants is the new Negro. So that's where the vote's going to come from.
Well, I'll agree with you on that part of it. The migrants are the new, as you say, the new Negro. Let's get as much of them as if we can. It'll change the optics of the voting era. How do these folks identify? Do they identify as other? And when meaning other, that means they check white, and then they go into the sub box, and they'll check,
Spanish.
non-white, Spanish, Hispanic American. So, but still, as far as the census is concerned, as far as the political climate and geopolitical climate spectrum is concerned, that will be considered a Republican district, a red district, as they call it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's what they're doing. So in other words, now it comes down to a state like Georgia, which definitely has been a red state for such a long time.
Mm-hmm.
That now it's now returned into a blue state because of the work of Stacey Abrams and black folks like her, Senator Raphael Warnock, the Jewish senator, what's his name? I can't think of his name. Zardoff or Hardoff or whatever. I can't think of his name right now. But you have a black man and a Jewish man in holding the seats, Senate seats in Georgia. Unprecedented. Normally held by Republicans. Of course, if you don't know who, I can't think of his name right now. That fat chubby kid, but he held that seat down for such a long time. It was ridiculous. But it was Republican again. So why do I bring that up? Because they're trying to tell you folks in Georgia that your votes don't matter. Why would they be courting your vote if it didn't matter? Why would they stop you from voting if it didn't matter? Question? Answer? What you think, Sean? Zero, what you think?
Makes sense to me. Why question it? So must mean something.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Zero?
Well, yeah, I think the vote, counts to a certain extent. But I mean, at the end of the day, they gonna do what they want to. Like as far as presidents go, like I mean, they already picked who they want. I mean, you had a popular vote, but that ain't what decide the president though.
Right. Well, let me ask both of you. Do you think voting? Do you think your vote matters? Do you think your vote counts? or just a formality?
A formality.
Yeah, formality. Definitely formality.
Hmm. Let's continue.
It's a cabal of convicts.
And that's the particular that I think so too. ABT. I think so too. AT. Yeah, I think so too. And we'll cover that a little bit later on. But that's the sentence right there. That's the mic drop moment that the whole universe is talking about. He considered Trump and his cronies a cabal of criminals. When you use the word cabal, what do you what do you think of?
What is that called? Foreign, but I can't think of
Yeah,
the
that's
name.
the word I'm looking for. You don't think American, you think foreign.
Mm-hmm.
You think foreign criminals, exactly. So that's for some folks that was a mic drop moment, but it did not. To me, it did not land correctly. It landed how white folks heard it, but I heard it as if you are now shifting the blame not to the Americans, but to some foreign country, a cabal of criminals. Why you got to use a cabal of criminals? Why don't you just call them what they are? Donald Trump and his crony of criminals. Don't take it out the country. Leave it here. Thoughts?
No thoughts.
Let's continue.
Yeah, I don't have too much to say about it. I mean, if we looked at every politician, we'll find some criminals. Like, I'm pretty sure anyone did something like that. But the main focus is that Trump and them is doing it out in the open, where everybody can see, and the attention's on them.
Right. So don't again. I'm going to go back to what this guy said. Don't sell me a bag of goods. Don't tell me there's nothing you could have. No one, whether you're on the Democratic side or whether you're on the Republican side, that you can tell me that where Trump is at now, to where you literally take him to court. That none of you, neither side of this, saw this happening in plain sight. But now it took you to take this guy to court to decide. You had chances to impeach him, but you chose not to. Whether you're Republican or whether you're Democratic, don't say that all the Democrats voted to impeach Trump, because they didn't. Don't say all the Republicans didn't vote to impeach Trump, because they didn't. It just wasn't enough on either side. But the evidence was there. And that would have been any other president, they would have gotten impeached. Take it back far as you want to. You don't got to say Obama. Take it back far as you want to. That would have been any other president, they would have been impeached.
Yeah.
Think about it. They impeached Bill Clinton for lying about, not the act of having oral sex in the White House, but for the act of lying about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the impeachment was about.
Yeah.
Let's think they were if Gerald Ford had not pardoned Nixon, his whole impeachment would have been revolved around 18 minutes. That's mysteriously got spliced out of a tape. What happened to the 18 minutes?
Well, it's on the investigation, and they're just trying to verify it, make sure it's original, and some other BS.
Okay, so all right. So Donald Trump, like Zero said, Donald Trump did his crimes out in the open. You don't have to go look for him like you did these other guys. He did his crimes in the open. Y'all still couldn't get it right? Let's continue.
So it's not that I'm not willing to vote for conservatives. I said I would have voted for Mitt Romney. Seemed like a decent family man. Now he looks like he's the publisher of Yachting Weekly, so he's not terribly relatable as a big money guy. But I'm not somebody that I liked the second Bush, George Bush Sr.'s son. I liked him. I thought he was a decent American, a decent human. I guess he's got some artistic qualities now. He paints a lot. I liked his wife, Laura Bush. I thought they were decent people. I like the Obamas. I didn't understand the outrage. Good family, seemed like nice people. But yeah,
Okay, let's stop there right there. He says he didn't understand the outrage. What you mean you didn't understand the outrage? What part about the outrage did you not understand? See, again, you have to look at this comment. This is all over the internet, folks. They're praising Colin Coward for his words. I see he's a stand-up guy now.
Oh wow.
You couldn't understand. You can't understand them saying that Obama wasn't born in this country. You can't understand that. Why didn't you mention that in your speech? That Trump is a flat-out bigot. That he started the whole birther movement. Why didn't you mention that? You can understand if you want to.
Yes, if you want to.
Right, the Obamas is good. What about how about these folks making making monkey faces with Obama's and Michelle Obama and Barack Obama?
Yeah, and they put the little mustache on him. I've seen
Right.
that.
Right. How about saying that Michelle Obama wasn't a woman, that she was a man? And this whole conspiracy, starting with her mama and all the folks around her, lied about her having these 2 children. There's no way that the doctors, the lawyers, everybody, it was in conspiracy about Sasha and Malik. That there's no way that Michelle Obama could have had these children because she's really a man. Look
just like them. Both of them.
So you tell me, if Obama would have done any of the things that we're talking about Trump, any of the things that's in the political spectrum right now, you had a guy that was in the House of Representatives, folks, that lied about everything on his resume. You mean to tell me nobody could check this before the day he got sworn in? George Santos. I did a little piece on him. It got 35 views. I said, it won't be long before they kick this guy out of Congress. 6 months later, 7 months later, he was gone. Folks was talking about they're surprised that the verdict came back guilty. What was the surprise about it?
They live to see it, maybe?
That's it. That's the only surprise. That should have been it. And this trial here, okay, like Zero said, you only get 4 years for it and pay $5,000. But the trials that make a difference is the election interference, the one that's going on in Georgia, the one that's going on in Florida. Those are the ones that'll do him in. But let me ask both of y'all, if you had grandparents at that age, at 77 and 78 years old, would you trust them to be the next president of the United States?
No, because of what they know more of the past, and that's how they would be thinking instead of what's going on like currently, and that would be an issue.
Meaning Donald Trump or Biden is not going to change their ways, right?
No.
Right. Zero, what about you? If you had grandparents at
Yeah,
that age,
definitely not.
no?
Hell no. Nope.
Right.
Nope.
Yeah, right. No, grandpa. I would let my grandpa at that age drive to the store. And this is right. And this is this is not being disrespectful, but senility, like ABT said, eventually it would set in. And Father Time catches up with everybody. I don't care what you said, 78, 77, 80 years old. Father Time is a motherfucker.
It's time to sit down. It is time to sit down.
Right. Time to go. Look, you ever seen Joe Biden try to walk on stage? Look like it's gonna take him till next week to get to the podium.
I know I've seen some clips where Donald Trump was making fun of him.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but then again, it looked like Donald Trump everywhere he go, he got to take a 5-minute break to go change his diaper because they say he smell like all outdoors.
Mm. Wow.
And that's not coming from me, folks. These are documented. These are reported. They said Donald Trump, not only from the trial, but the other folks have said outside of the trial that, on the airplane being on an airplane on Air Force One with Donald Trump wasn't the most pleasant experience in the world.
Mm.
Dang. So Trump needs the pen?
He depend on them depends.
Mm.
It's not me saying this, folks. These are folks. ABT says Mexico had the first woman president. Yeah. You think ABT? Answer this question here, since we're talking about politics, and I'll start with you on this one. And ABT, you can type your answer in the chat room. Do you think it's time for a woman president in the United States?
No.
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 Would you be so present to share your opinion as to why not?
Because we're still at a point where other countries, men don't respect women. So I would not want to be a target like that in this country because these other countries do not respect women. So I wouldn't feel safe.
Okay. Well, we got one for one. We got a yes, and we got a no. So Zero. What about you? What do you think? Do you think the United States is due for a woman president?
I don't know if it's due for at least not right now. I think maybe 10 or 20 years from now, if you get the right person, maybe.
Okay. So now we got two no's, and we're going to be in a tie. So I'll say I think it is. The reason why I say that I don't think that we will have a choice. The reason why I say that is, okay, if Biden wins, who will be the vice president?
I don't know.
Maybe not unless he changes vice president. Usually, if the incumbent wins, he usually is the vice president, meaning Harris.
Okay.
So Vice President Harris will take over the commander in chief.
Okay.
Not she'll fill two bullets at one time. She'll not kill two birds with one stone, as they say. Mm-hmm. She'll be the first black, or I won't say black. She'll be the first woman.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say really say the first black woman. She'll be the first black woman.
Non-Anglo-Saxon.
Yeah.
Or Asian American, like she used to call herself, but you said she was black for the vice president position.
Yeah, first woman of color. That's the word I was looking for. That would be her moniker. Because if Biden wins office, and he's not either through his unfortunate passing, or he becomes disabled, through the Presidential Act, the 25th Amendment, Kamala Harris would automatically become the president of the United States, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, she tried before.
Right. So I think whether we like it or not, that's a possibility, and I think that's where the biggest pushback is coming from about Biden's age. We can't let Biden in, because if he gets into office, that's 4 more years. He's 77 now. So how old is Biden? 78? So he'll be 82, 83 by the time he gets out of office.
Okay.
What country,
it does.
Go ahead, Zero.
I said it does seem like they are low key trying to set up a Trump, because I think I read a paper when they were talking about the trial. It was like, well, we're gonna have a trial, but the trial probably won't end until after the presidency. I'm like, how do y'all know how long it's gonna last?
Right, right. To me, I think that all the different trials was the delay tactic, and to get a little deeper into it, Zero, and the reason why I think it was a delay tactic is because, again, it gets to the point of if you put the whole picture in perspective, Joe Biden wins, Kamala Harris becomes the president of the United States. Say the Democrats win the House of Representatives. Who's the next person in line? The Speaker of the House, which will become Hakeem Jeffries. So that means that the president, the country will be ran by who?
A woman.
And a man, and a black man. Country will be ran by two black folks or people
Oh
of
yeah,
color.
they don't want that to happen.
I don't think
Yeah,
that
they
they
don't
want
want
that. I don't think the general public is not ready for that.
Mm-hmm. It's too much.
I think that's a bit too much for America to swallow.
Yeah.
So we already had Obama.
Right. We gave y'all 8 years. That wasn't enough. And you come back. I mean, look at even the Republicans said this. If you look at the Republican Party, the Republican looked like a good old boy convention. But if you look at the Democratic Party, it looks like the whole of America, and that's fact.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's continue. Let's see what else. Let's see what else we can debunk from Colin right here.
Just if everybody in your social circle is a felon, I don't think it's rigged. I don't think the world's against you. And to get people to agree on anything, 34 counts, 0 for 34. I mean, that's a batting slump even the New York Mets could be impressed with.
Let's think about that. I know I'm going to stop it from a couple of times, but let's think about that. 34 felony counts, and not one of them came back saying, "Well, we're not going to find you guilty on this." It didn't take them weeks, as the expert said. Trump and them was in the courtroom, yapping it up, laughing, having a good old time. Judge said, "Oh, wait a minute, motherfuckers ain't going home today. The jury's back." Let me read this right here. It says, this is what the ABT said. I don't think she's. Let me read this. The blue came over. She has the skills to be the first woman president. Her policies during the senatorial candidacy were not favorable towards black folks, and no, that is a drawback of Harris. I know if you were and lived in California at a certain time, if you're familiar with Willie Brown, I would say she was a surrogate of Willie Brown, and Willie Brown wasn't the best politician in the world. You know, she said a lot of things that Kamala did, Miss Harris did wasn't conducive to black folks. But my pushback to that is, don't do the crime if you can do the time. I didn't know who the lady was personally, but it seems to me a lot of black folks in the California area did, in the Bay Area did. It just seems to me. Go ahead, Zero.
I was gonna say. I remember when she was when it was like a guy who was like possibly convicted for like 6 years, like just like for nothing. They just snatched him up, threw him in jail, didn't tell him what he was supposed to be arrested for. This like when Kamala was DA,
Yeah.
and like you know, he tried to appeal. He said like the 2 times that he had saw her when he was appealing it, so it was like she didn't even care, or even try to even find out what happened.
Right, and again, that's the general consensus that I've heard about her, that she went after low-hanging fruit, meaning guys that put themselves in jeopardy of dealing with the law, and in any case, she gave them the maximum sentence. And then when asked about the situation, I think someone asked her another direct question, and the same thing with Biden. they say Biden was instrumental in the crime wave bill. His,
Yeah.
his handprint is all over that. So neither one of them are clean.
Yeah, and he voted for desegregation twice as a senator.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
voted against it.
Now his son's on trial for being pretty much an admitted crackhead. I shouldn't have had a gun. Yeah. It just goes to show you. But anyway, let's continue with this right here. Let's see what else he has to say.
0 for 34. So, it's just, when you're constantly trying to sell me on an America that I don't see, I'm not saying inflation's not an issue, but I get on airplanes all the time, and it's not a bunch of rich people. I don't fly private. I couldn't tell you the last time. I fly private maybe every couple of years. It'll be a family thing. We're trying to get everybody in the same flight, but not very often. I don't live in a fancy neighborhood. I get on planes. There's people in normal clothes. They don't look rich to me. And the planes are all full. And the hotels are all full. And the freeways are all full. That means people are going to work. You're trying to sell.
Now, that part right there, I'm going to have to agree with him with. Everywhere you go, and let me ask you, what is the main topic that people talk about when they come face to face? What is the main topic that folks say? If you go to Atlanta, what do they talk about? Traffic. They go to New York, what do they talk about? Traffic. When they go to the major cities, what are they talking about? The traffic. Well, let me ask you, where these folks going?
To the club?
Right. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 7 o'clock in the morning, where these folks going? Are they just getting in their cars, just driving around? Huh? I'm just saying.
Right.
I'm just trying to be as use common sense. Common sense tell me that is the major argument for a lot of people, when especially in Atlanta. I know here, even on the outskirts of Charleston, we didn't have this kind of traffic, but now when you pull out of my street to get into the main thoroughfare, shit. There was a point in time, I remember growing up as a kid living here, we could stand in the middle of the road and play football. Not now. You get roadkill.
Uh-oh.
So,
Yeah.
I lost my train of thought there reading that.
Oh, you were talking about the traffic.
Yeah, I mean, think about that though. Everywhere you go, every person that you talk to, they complain about the traffic. Whether it's 7 o'clock in the morning, whether it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So my question to all of those folks that complain about traffic, is it that people just get in their cars with nothing else to do? They ain't got no destination, and just driving around the freeways and through the thoroughfares and all that, just to say there's traffic, they're not going to work? Okay, since once they're going to work, sooner or later the car gonna run out of gas. So we shouldn't have, at least by in the next, if you drive your car for how many hours, if you fill your tank up zero, if you drive, say if I drive from South Carolina to Atlanta, I'm gonna get to Atlanta one time and I'm gonna get halfway back before I have to put gas in my car, right?
Yeah.
If ain't nobody working at the gas station, where I'm gonna get gas from?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm working at the gas station. I'm selling you gas, right?
Yeah.
Ain't no more gas in the pump because don't nobody work at the big rig to bring the gas. So I ask you, where's all these trucks and cars going? If the America itself, if the main thing is traffic that we complain about, where's everybody going if they ain't going to work? Granny's house?
Yeah, they're working, because even if they're
Oh.
delivering packages, that's work. Even if they're
Right.
delivering food, it's work.
Right. Amazon come
Yeah.
to my damn house damn near every day. So somebody working. And they
Right.
ain't working for $8, $9. But back in the day, I heard some folks say they was working for $3 an hour, $3.25 an hour, $2.25 an hour. Shit, not no more.
Mm-hmm.
What was this?
Going rate is 15 and up, right?
In the 70s and or so.
Right. So even minimum wage ain't cheap no more.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on where it's at, because not everywhere got 15 an hour.
Right,
Yes.
right. I'm sure, of course, I'm sure not everywhere. I'm sure there's some people that's still working for, under the table, getting paid $8 an hour, $9 an hour, $10 an hour. I'm sure of that. But in the majority of these major corporations now, they got to come up with them dollars.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Cause like after the lockdown, it was like they had to put up more money because get people to come back to work.
Right. What can we do to come back? What can we do to get you to come back to work? A lot of folks still don't go back to work. Sure, yeah, I'm not. If you don't mind, but when's the last time you've been in a brick and mortar building?
January 21st, 2020.
Okay. All right. Before that wasn't that when the pandemic started happening?
Right after that.
Right. Okay. So
Mhm.
they do. Everybody do. The newscasters broadcast from home. Some of them ain't in the studio no more. The radio stations broadcast from home. There was a point in time that folks used to laugh at you from broadcasting at your house. Now it's commonplace. Politicians broadcasting from home.
Yep.
So the political climate itself has changed. Now you got folks like Marjorie Taylor Greene can say anything she wants. What was the last show we talked about it last week? The major scandal was what is it? The four? What? How was it? The 6 Bs, the 4 Bs? What was it?
It's 6B.
Right, beach blonde, butch body. Right,
Beach Bond, Bad Bill, Bush Body.
right.
Because somebody made a song from that.
It's somebody. They made several songs about it.
Okay.
Don't say that. I know. I'm still
Okay. Okay. All right.
Don't say it. I know he's taking it in the back of the head. Now, you was about to say, but wait a minute. I'm still editing it, folks. We got a whole segment coming up on that.
You got a song coming out?
We got a whole segment on it, Zero. It's coming up.
Okay.
I promise
All
you,
right.
folks. But I wanted to do this live so I can get natural reaction on the political state of Black America. And to me, I think what happened with Jasmine Crockett, you'll see in the next upload. I think this brought America eyes a little bit open to the political climate. I think what happened to Trump with the tennis shoes and the idea that we as Black folks will vote for him because he's a convicted felon, that don't sit right with me.
Yeah, and I'm wondering what Ice. I'm about to call him Ice something. 50 Cent. I wonder what he just said a few hours ago.
I wish I don't know, but we'll cover that in the next segment because I'm sure if I can find this clip, y'all talk to the audience for a minute. Let me go see if I can dig up this clip before we get out of here. I want to keep this right at 2 hours, so let me go and dig this clip up. Y'all talk amongst yourself. I'll be right back. Okay.
All right. Well, I'm thinking that they're going to play around with this on in social media. They're going to push the narrative that it's important for us Black people to vote, and we might as well vote for Trump because the migrants are taking over and it's all Biden's fault, and we got to do something because there's going to be no money for us, no jobs for us. This already has started, and no housing for us. and I could just hear that narrative of the reason why everyone should vote for Trump. That's what you're going to hear next several months.
Yeah, yeah. They're definitely gonna say that. But I was like thinking, like, I was like, so what happened before they started bringing all these migrants over?
Yeah, we just been hearing more about it. We've been seeing it. The money is definitely going to them. We see that our resources are being taken away and being used for housing them. So
Yeah,
that's what's been happening.
yeah. I definitely don't like having somebody sneak into our country, then get benefits, then get to. Some of them don't even have. Some of them ain't even going to work and get to live off on the people, get hotels and all that, and then have the nerve to talk crazy about the talk about crazy about America. I'm like, well, if you didn't like it that much, you can go back.
But they're not going
You
to do
ain't supposed to be over here anyway.
that. They just talking. But I will say the Chinese, a lot of them had some money. And so they're being put up in some nice places and they're actually going to benefit for being here.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I remember hearing a news report like a long time ago. They were talking about like, oh yeah, your next door neighbor could be Chinese. They were talking about how, like Chinese people buying up all these properties around the country. I was like, oh, I should have known something was up when they said that. I was like, but it was like the way they said, like, oh yeah, they could be your neighbor. Like,
Hmm.
I didn't know, like,
Yeah,
how serious that was. I really would have too much a problem. I still like that they get, America get resources out of it. I don't have a problem with them. I wouldn't have a problem with them being here if they actually came in here legally.
yeah. If it
Yeah,
was organized, well organized, because you don't know who's here.
right.
And why would you allow anyone to be on your land and you don't know what they're going to do, what their
Yeah,
purpose is? Hmm.
and, and then on top of that, I'm hearing like a lot of them are carrying contagious diseases. I'm like, well, what? I'm saying y'all still bringing them over here?
Well, something going
I
on
mean,
as far as what they have, because if they don't have certain things in their country
Congressman
to,
Byron Donalds, whose name has been
Oh, my fault there, ladies and
okay.
gentlemen. All right, this guy right here. I didn't know it was gonna play. I loaded this, but this guy right here that you see on the screen, he
Yeah.
is Republican Donaldson, whatever his name is, Byron Donalds, whatever. I want you to listen to what he has to say. I know he's kind of long-winded, but y'all listen to what he says here.
okay.
reportedly on a short list for possible vice presidential picks for the former president. Congressman Donalds, I appreciate your being with here. Let me get right to that news. Your colleagues on the House Judiciary's Weaponization Committee are demanding Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg and prosecutor Matthew Colangelo testify in 2 weeks. Is it the place of Congress to be looking into state jury verdicts?
First of all, it's good to be with you. Number one, absolutely it is. We do send federal funds to local jurisdictions all across the country. Number two, it's Alvin Bragg who decided to reach into the federal jurisdiction in order to make these misdemeanors felonies. You got to remember the core of this argument is that is dealing with the federal election of 2016. That is not the jurisdiction of a state prosecutor in Lower Manhattan. That is the jurisdiction of the Federal Election Commission.
But Congressman,
Federal
let me push
Election
back.
Commission, by the way.
Yeah, right. He's about to give the congressman pushback on what he just said. Y'all heard what he said. He said it's not the right of this is a federal matter, and that Alvin Bragg should have not even stuck his nose in it. Basically, what he's saying. So listen to the question before the reporter is about to ask him.
That looked at this in 2018 and said there was nothing here.
But let me push back on that if I can. This case obviously was indicted by a state grand jury. It was decided by a Manhattan jury. The appeals process hasn't played out. Why not allow the appeals process, the way our system works, to be completed?
Because you got to understand, and let's just be real about this. The entire reason why these charges were brought now, why this case was brought now, was to interfere with the 2024 presidential election. It was to interfere. It was to trap Donald Trump in the courtroom.
Well,
Okay, he said the reason why these charges were brought up is because Donald Trump is running for president. Well, the DA that decided not to prosecute Donald Trump when they had evidence to punted on it. Alvin Bragg said, we're not having that. You might not have charged him in a federal case, but I can charge him locally. I can charge him in a state case where the federal government has absolutely nothing to do with this. Why is it more important to charge for a state to do this? Because Donald Trump cannot pardon himself against state crimes. That's why they're pushing for this to be a federal issue. Donald Trump cannot pardon himself against state crimes. That's important.
Okay.
Now, what Alvin Bragg just what this guy just said about Alvin Bragg, that we all automatically know that Alvin Bragg did not convene the grand jury. Alvin Bragg did not pick the grand jury. Alvin Bragg did not was not amongst the jury pool. Alvin Bragg did not sit on the jury, so he had nothing to do with Donald Trump being found guilty. He did his job by saying, I think as a prosecutor, this is what Mr. Trump did wrong. Now it's up to the jury to decide which jury of 12 of his peers said Donald Trump was guilty, not on one count, not on two counts, but all 34. This guy right here, this black man, is about over on Fox News, from the water for Donald Trump.
What news?
This Fox News. I didn't say Fox. I said Fox News.
It's Fox News. I see MSNBC. I see NBC logo on there.
You caught that chart? Damn it! I thought I slipped through. Anyway, he got his red tie on. His suit looked like he borrowed it from his little brother. Hey, let me get your jacket.
Oh, him and Dog got matching ties.
You're right. See, he got his red tie on. Just right before Donald Trump's trial ended, the Republicans took a day off. Before Marjorie Taylor Greene said the beach body big body thing, the Republicans was in New York and supporting Donald Trump. They all had on blue jackets and red ties. What kind of shit is that? Didn't help him much. But let's continue.
There's no evidence that Joe Biden had any involvement, obviously.
Are you going to let me finish, or are you going to talk over me?
I just wanted to make that pushback. I'm glad to listen.
You want to talk? Okay, let me talk. Here's the deal. Everybody knows that the appeals process is going to go well into 2025 after the election is over. Say what you will about the merits of the case. We have never in American history had prosecutions of the leading presidential candidate of any major party in the United States. This has never happened.
No. In the history of the United States, we have never had a convicted felon as someone running for the presidency of the United States. You forgot to say that, folks. Come on in for a second. He forgot to say that, didn't he? Never in the history, because Nixon didn't decide to run for office. Bill Clinton couldn't run for office. The rest of the presidents, we decided that the president that said that we was going to war because of the massive weapons of mass destruction. We didn't hold it. We didn't have a military tribunal about him, did we? This president openly committed crimes. Are we not, as American citizens, not supposed to hold him accountable? Congressman Donalds? Are we supposed to let Donald Trump have a pass? Are we supposed to let him get back into office, knowing that what he did now, if we let him get away with this now, do you not think he'll be worse later? Or are you just bucking and hoping that you can be the vice president? Is power more important? But let's continue.
So much so that Maine Justice, their own protocols are that they don't do this in the heat of a presidential election. But what we have seen out of the Department of Justice, led by Merrick Garland, out of Alvin Bragg in Lower Manhattan, out of Fannie Willis in Georgia, is that they do not care about the norms of our election process. They just want to get Donald Trump. So the Weaponization Committee does have a responsibility to investigate.
So respectfully, let me push back for a second, because it's the same Justice Department that you say has weaponized this right now, that as we speak is prosecuting the Democratic senator from New Jersey, Robert Menendez. They're pursuing a case against the Democratic representative from Texas.
But wait, there's more. Y'all heard all these Democratic reports, people that hold overs from Trump's administration, not Biden's administration, are holding these Republicans responsible. But there's one other person that he's about to mention. If this was a two-tier justice system that was run by Biden, do you think that Biden would allow his son to go to trial? Folks, y'all come on in for a minute. Answer that question for me, Short Zero. You think if this was a two-tier justice system, do you think that Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, would allow his son to be on trial right now for misdemeanor gun charges?
Nope.
I don't think so either.
Nah.
Sean, I know Sean had to step away for a minute. We talked about that earlier, so she'll be away from the mic for a minute. So what do you think about that, Zero? He says that the same people that that's holding Donald Trump accountable is under Joe Biden's thumb, but if they were, these are Donald Trump's people that found him guilty. It's Donald Trump's people that told on him.
Well, I guess they say technically not his people, because I'm pretty sure they didn't like him being in the Republican Party anyway. But yeah, they did convict him. So.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You could say what you want to, because it's funny that you bring that up. All these people that's toting water for Donald Trump right now. If you go back to 2015. Before he became the presumptive nominee and before he became president, they tore Donald Trump down. They called him a fraud. Yeah. They called him a fake. They said that he should not be taken seriously when it comes to politics. What a difference does 9 years make? Yeah,
I think I even heard like after he became president, I heard a few Republicans saying I didn't even vote for him. I didn't want him here.
Right.
He's not one of us.
Right. The people that said they would, that actually said they don't want to vote for Donald Trump, rather than still being a part of the Republican Party, they retired.
Yeah, because before he ran president, he was Democrat, and then I guess he decided to run as Republican.
Right, he sure enough donated plenty of money to Hillary Clinton in the Clinton campaign. Yeah. He donated plenty of money. That's documented, folks. We ain't made that up, did we, Zero?
Now you got to support his cousin.
Right. He said you got to support his cousin.
Yeah. They're like that 19 cousins.
Right.
And the thing about it, they really a couple of months before we even knew they were even gonna be running as the top presidential candidates.
Right.
I was
that line runs thick, huh?
I was like, well, that's making a lot of sense.
Right. Let's continue here.
Henry Cuellar, and beginning on Monday, they're going to be pursuing the start of a trial against the president's own son, Hunter Biden, on a gun charge. So how can it be both ways, where they're only pursuing this as a way to weaponize it when they're pursuing Democrats and Republicans?
Oh, this, I'm glad you brought that up. First of all, Bob Menendez, he had gold bars with his name engraved on them, and Bob Menendez is not running for president of the United States. Number two, Henry Cuellar is not running for president of the United States.
So it only matters because he's running for president of the United States. It doesn't
So
matter below
what
that.
he's saying is
because you're interfering with the
so the only reason why Donald Trump or anybody else shouldn't be on crimes is why shouldn't be held accountable. Why? Because he's the president of the United States. The guy that he's talking about was a sitting senator. It was a sitting House of Representative, excuse me, that's up on charges. That had gold bricks. That a lot of actually, to be quite honest with you, I think the hammer is about to be lowered on Matt Gaetz here pretty soon too.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are you saying there, Congressman Donalds? That you have to that make a difference. If you're running for president, you're above the law. Let's continue. Let's see what he says.
Presidential election.
But what evidence is there that Joe Biden
You're
doesn't have any
interfering
control,
with the presidential election. That's the issue here.
Joe Biden doesn't have any control over what the Manhattan DA does.
Matthew Colangelo was the number 3 guy at Maine Justice under Merrick Garland, who works for Joe Biden. He left there to go be a frontline prosecutor in Lower Manhattan. I mean, look, that right there demonstrates that you have some semblance of collusion, because never in the legal system, according to my knowledge, have you had somebody working at Maine Justice in the number 3 position leave to go be a frontline prosecutor on a case in New York City. Just happens to be the case of a former president who is the chief political rival of Joe Biden. So this stinks to high heaven. Everybody knows it stinks to high heaven. And that
Okay, Congressman Donalds, if all that is true, you still left out the damn jury. You still left out all these folks that has nothing to do with Joe Biden. Let's see what you say here, ABT. Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about with Hunter Biden, I think, yes, I think the Republicans, the amount of ruckus that they conjured up about this so-called laptop, there was some kind of evidence on there that Joe Biden was accepting bribe money. So Hunter Biden became the scapegoat as they were looking for evidence from a whistleblower says they had a whistleblower to try and pin on Joe Biden, the president. They stumbled across Hunter Biden. They've had behind the doors scenes of hearings, but they still have yet to come up with any evidence that Joe Biden was in connection with Hunter Biden. It's gotten to the point that the original charges that they charged him again doesn't matter. These gun charges are because they said he lied on a form. This is what we're all in an uproar about, that he lied on a form, that he was able to buy a gun because he lied on a form, because he checked the box no instead of yes. That's basically why he's in court. Not because he took large sums of money from Burisma, not because Joe Biden did, because now he was a convicted felon that, in this case, had a gun, that lied on an application for a gun. But not a convicted felon. He was a guy that was on drugs, and he was not supposed to have, he wasn't supposed to be able to buy a gun at the time that he was under a doctor's care. That's what they're prosecuting him for right now. That's what it's all about. Make no mistake about it. So let's continue. As you can see, it's always about what ifism, what these guys did. See, let's point the finger at the Democrats.
That is why you have millions of people going to DonaldJTrump.com, supporting President Trump, donating to President Trump, wanting to volunteer for President Trump, because this is election interference and it is a political persecution of Joe Biden's political rival.
If President Trump wins his appeal, will you support that verdict?
Of course, because this case should never been brought in the first place. Did
So
you hear
if he
what I said at
loses
the
his
top?
appeal, will you
First of all,
support that then?
this case should have never been brought in.
You said you'll support it if he wins it, but you won't support it if he loses. I just want to be clear.
Oh my gosh, you gonna let me talk? Let me answer
Please.
your question. You are talking about a federal crime that is never actually decided by the Federal Election Commission. They looked into this and they.
So again, let's see, read here. No, she means in reference to Trump's camp turning on him. Yeah, I think it was. I think people were so they looked at some of the things that Trump was doing, and for the longest time, you had folks like John Bolton, you had members of the Joint Chiefs of Staff that couldn't take anymore, but everybody was wanting to profit off of it, ABT, because everybody didn't want to talk. They wanted to sell a book about it first. So I think once they profit about it, like John Bolton wrote, I was in the room. You was in the room. You knew that Donald Trump was doing some underhanded stuff. You knew he was putting the democracy at risk, but you decided to profit off of it first before you warned America about it. So that's just my sentiment. You guys, anything?
Nothing.
Zero?
I don't really have too much to say about it. I don't think people on who can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, yes. I don't think the people that was supposed to be on Trump's team was ever actually on this team. That's probably why it was so easy for them to, if they turned on them, it was so easy for them to do it.
I'll agree. You know what? I'll agree with you, Zero, that Donald Trump thought he was surrounding himself by loyalists, but their loyalty only went to a certain amount.
Yeah.
I'll agree with you. Be careful who you call friends. Be careful of those folks in your inner circle. To me, what Donald Trump's problem was, he was able to skirt under the law for years until he became president. And then the eyes of the nation was on him, and he couldn't get away with his crimes anymore. His crimes was either in New York, where, of course, we didn't know whether Donald Trump was inflating the price of where he lived, because that wasn't in the news. We didn't know that he inflated the price of Mar-a-Lago. That was in the news. As far as we know, Donald Trump was just some rich white man that ran an apprentice show. And to find out, because he was a president, the more of the layers of the onion you peel back, he wasn't who we thought he was.
Right.
But let's continue here.
Said there's nothing to see here. Alvin Bragg pulls it up as a state prosecutor outside of his jurisdiction and ties in some bookmaking charge that is long since past the long past since when that charge was no longer allowed to be utilized in state court.
Now, see, again, you can let, just like with Colin, you can let things go by. He said bookmaking charge. No. This was the beginning of the coup process, folks. The mere fact that if he had not paid Stormy Daniels off, if he had not paid Karen McDougal off, the chances are the Republican Party would have not had him as the presumptive Republican nominee, because it would have ruined his reputation amongst white women voters, whether it would be the suburban housewife or the white and evangelicals. They had to bury this story. This was a catch and kill story. They had to bury the fact that he was cheating on his pregnant wife. White women don't like that. They had to cover the fact that he was in a relationship with a woman for over a amount of years. That this was not a casual relationship. This was a long-term relationship, and he also had a relationship with a porn star. That would have not run over well, especially after the Access Hollywood story. You would have combined those three stories, and Donald Trump would have never been the president of the United States. That's bottom line.
I believe that.
Yes. All right, Zero said he got to hop down there sharp, but this was the beginning of to me, was the beginning of the coup. This was when, if you hear, I'm sure that sooner or later, the transcripts will come out of what was said at the trial. Of course, I would have hoped a trial of this magnitude, of this importance, would have been televised, but it wasn't. It should have
Yeah.
been. I think it
Yeah.
should have been. Too short. I think this trial should have been televised.
It would have been good, but I guess probably possibly safety reasons they didn't do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, and we didn't, and we would have caught Donald Trump sleeping. But let's continue.
All to twist it together in a legal theory to get felony convictions? Come on, man. This case is a joke. You know it. I know it. The American people know it.
Let me ask you, the president's son, Don Jr., said, quote, November 5th is going to be retribution. Do you agree with that? Is that the stakes of this election?
I think that November 5th, the American people are going to weigh in on exactly what they think has happened in Lower Manhattan, what they think Joe Biden has done in his job as president, because he's been the master of disaster. Everything has gone wrong under Joe Biden.
Okay, I keep hearing that, and this goes back to what I was talking about, Colin. According to your boy Colin Coward, life is pretty good.
Right, and it's for his friends too.
Yeah, and his friends too. Now, if we look at Biden's record, you know, he signed the CHIPS Act, he signed the infrastructure bill, the jobs. He's the president who's created the most jobs in history. So to say Joe Biden has done nothing as a president of the United States, I just named four things off the top of my head.
Okay.
Not going to hear this from the opposing side. All you're going to hear is rubbish. That Joe Biden is the worst thing since what? Broke your leg?
Super chat button.
Right. The super chat button, that's a good one, Sean. Right. But again, I mean, we can look at Trump's job record versus Biden-Trump record. They speak for themselves. The Science Act. All this was created by Biden.
Okay.
Let's continue.
And everybody knows it as well. And it's also going to be a demonstration that the American people want Donald Trump back in the White House. Because when he was president of the United States, inflation was low, our border was secure, the world was much safer. Everything.
Okay, let's talk about the border. During Donald Trump's presidency, what was the main topic?
The wall, and they're gonna pay
Building the
for
wall
it.
and people in cages. They were still coming here. Donald Trump in his presidency lost more jobs than any other president in history. Donald Trump was willing to cut Social Security. Donald Trump was willing to take money from the veterans. Donald Trump did a whole lot of things behind closed doors that affect the everyday American. But they don't mention these. Go look these bills up there for yourself. You see what Donald Trump was cutting from the everyday American. The tax bill that you think that you was getting only went to the top 10% of the Americans. There's no tax bill that Donald Trump cut for the middle class or the poor. If you got a tax break, you're now feeling the brunt of it. If you got a stimulus check, either you're being charged with it or you're being taxed for it. Am I wrong?
Not so far.
Okay. Let's continue.
Thing has gone wrong, and the Democrats who like to lecture everybody about wanting to save democracy, they are the ones who are destroying the institutions of our country. It's got to stop, and Donald Trump is the man to do it.
Donald Trump on the first day, the first official event of this new campaign season, said, "I am your retribution." Do you support that statement?
I do, and here's why. Because the American people have watched their cities be overrun by illegal aliens, which is a violation of federal immigration law. Joe Biden doesn't care. They've watched the price of everything in their home go up drastically because of Joe Biden's reckless spending, not caring
But
about
why
the
is that
welfare
retribution?
of the
Isn't that
American
policy
people.
differences? Sorry to interrupt you.
They watched 13 men and women die at Hamid Karzai International Airport, and when the bodies came back from Afghanistan, Joe Biden was busy looking at his watch, not caring about the disaster he caused on the withdrawal of Afghanistan. So yes, the American people have had enough. They want to fire Joe Biden, and they have every right to do so.
Let me ask you if I can. Will you commit to accepting the results of the 2024 election, no matter who wins?
First of all, I've answered this one before, but let's get to it.
Well, let's
if
do it
you
for
have
us.
if you have state and local agencies that actually follow election law and don't twist election procedures to suit their own interests, then of course. Secondarily, if you're going to have a presidential
Okay, let's talk about that for a second. He said if you have state and local election laws that don't twist it up to suit their needs. Well, let's talk about that for a second, folks. The Republican Party that Donald Trump said that the election was stolen from, you went through 60 particular court cases. 60, count them, 60. And out of those 60 cases, or excuse me, 61, and out of those 61 cases, there was only one judge that thought that you might have been correct about your idea that the election was stolen. You created fake electors for the states, not only that you lost in, but you didn't, that the other Republicans won in. Like in the state of Georgia.
Fake news.
Say again?
Fake news.
Wait a minute, Mr. Trump. I know you jump back in right quick. Like, well, let me ask you, how's it feasible that you, in a state that you say that the Republicans won, but you lost the presidential ticket? Why was it up for recount, like in Arizona?
You know these people always cheating. I won all of that. That Sleepy Joe lost.
No, Mr. President, that's not what I asked you. What I asked you was there was Republicans that won in the state of Arizona, but you didn't win in Arizona. You didn't win in Georgia. But although there was Republicans that won on the same ballot, on the same ticket that you were on.
Oh,
Sir?
I'm not worried about all of that. I still won.
Okay, but so if you knew if you won 100%, can I ask you, Mr. President, what was the purpose of the fake electors?
I don't know where these fake people come from.
Say that again. I'm sorry, sir.
I don't know where all these fake people come
So
from.
you've been in the background listening to Republican, Representative Donalds. You agree with everything he's been saying, that the election was stolen, that Joe Biden don't know what he's doing, that the economy's
This
up
is
and
my
on.
friend. This is my Negro friend. See my black friend over there?
Sir,
Okay.
we don't use the word Negro anymore.
This is my black friend. He
You only
knows
got one?
best. That's why
only
his
got
last name is Donalds.
Oh Lord. Okay, well, let's listen to Donald's talk some more. Okay, there's two of y'all in here.
election under the stink of this lawfare, which is damaging the presidential election. It makes it very, very difficult because normal people in our country are going to look at it and they're going to say the fix is in. The Democrats do not care about our election process. They just want to keep power and keep Joe Biden in the White House. It's disgusting.
If Donald Trump wins, you'll accept it, I trust, yeah?
Listen, like I said at the top, as long as all the election procedures are followed and we can get rid of this lawfare, I have no problem accepting the results of an election.
Let me ask you about your Republican colleague, J.D. Vance. He suggested that the daughter of Judge Juan Merchan should be subpoenaed. Should family members of public officials be considered fair game, Congressman?
If you're talking about the fact that the daughter of Judge Merchan is making millions of dollars helping Democrats raise money online, and that very fact has caused her dad to have a vested interest in supporting a conviction of President Trump, then yes, she should, because her influence with her father is one of the core reasons why I believe this case is going to be overturned. And because Juan Merchan, under New York State ethics, should have recused himself because he has a bias against Donald Trump.
And to be clear, by that same logic, then, isn't the backlash?
Again, folks.
You go, Mr. Donalds. You go, Mr.
Okay, Mr. Trump, again, that still does not. How do you get past the jury? The judge does not issue the verdict. The judge is just there to basically keep the courtroom together. He just and to make sure that the prosecution doesn't go overboard or the defense doesn't go overboard. The judge is not in the deliberation room with the jurors. He has no say so in that. No, especially nor does his daughter. Sir?
No
Mr. Trump?
comment. No comment.
But you just said, way to go, Mr. Donalds.
That's my African American friend, of course.
Okay, well, let's listen to some more of your African American friend. I thought Tim Scott was your African American friend last week.
He could be my VP.
Do you think, well, speaking of VP there, Mr. President, in the unlikely chance that you should even win, you can start considering a running mate yet, a vice president?
What are you doing in November, Stevie?
Oh, no, sir, buddy. You will not get me and you on the same ticket. No, sir.
I was going to make sure that you count the ballots because you seem like an honest guy.
Well, I mean, I'm not a poll person, but there are people in my family that do, are poll people that they do count ballots and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you. I was going to use you. I mean, I was going to ask you if you would do it since you have a radio station and you can broadcast.
No, sir. So I don't give out political views. I don't. Are you paying me for advertisement, sir?
This is for the American people. Don't you want it for the American people?
I need paid advertisements. For Classic R&B Jams, we need paid advertisements.
Yeah. Well,
sir,
I am raising funds, so I'm sure there's something there for you.
Okay.
Against Justices Alito and Clarence Thomas for the actions of their wives reasonable?
Well, Mr. Trump, can I ask you that? Well, he said, do you think? I mean, Justice Alito was flying the upside down flag, and that was in direct solidarity with the January 6th insurrection people. Not only then, he says, the first time he was caught with the flag, he said, well, his wife was having a dispute with the neighbors, and then the second time he was caught, he said, well, his wife was just, she was mad about something else, but. Mr. President,
yes.
do you think that aren't you the king of your castle? Don't you know everything that goes on in your house?
Oh yes, I do.
So you don't think Justice Alito and his wife talk about flying the flag before they flew it upside down?
They probably did. I'm pretty sure.
Well, shouldn't the judge Alito recuse himself from any cases when it comes to whether you have immunity or not?
Well, he can.
No, I didn't say whether he can. I said, shouldn't he?
Well, I let that, that's up to him. If he takes the money I gave, it's up to him. He knows what to do. He knows what to do.
Okay. Like I said, we're talking about the political arena. So how about this? Then what about Justice Clarence Thomas? Don't you think he should recuse himself from all business of the Supreme Court when it comes to whether you have a political immunity, not Mr. President?
But him dealing with that white woman, that Hey, our friends don't like that. They don't like that.
Well, that's another thing. What Justice Thomas tried to say that him and his wife does not talk about. They don't talk about political views at the dinner table. What do you think, sir?
I
Mr.
really
President?
can't share. I really, well, I'll just say off the record, we have some bugs in the house and we know different. They play this game in their bedroom. So they talk about a lot of things. So don't believe all that you hear.
Okay, so you don't think they're talking about you don't think they talk about the insurrection or your trial or anything like that? What's going on? You don't think they have conversations about that?
Oh, not anymore. Make sure of that.
Hmm. So you don't think either one of these justices should recuse themselves from your immunity case?
Like I said, if they taking the money, they know what to do.
You taking any money? Well, they did say that Clarence Thomas is paying the rent, has the rent paid on a luxurious home for his mom, and he's taking millions of dollars in luxurious trips and different things like that.
Yeah, we taught them well. We taught them well.
Well, some would consider that a bribe, sir.
And you didn't hear that from me.
Let's continue.
As far as I remember, Justice Alito's wife flew a flag. That's not making money. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, it's not a question
And
about
number
whether she
two,
flew a
when
flag or
you're
not. She
talking
flew multiple flags. One of them's associated with Christian nationalism.
Flying
Another
a
one's
flag
not
is not
just a
making
signal of
money, sir.
distress, but as you
Flying
know,
a
in both
flag is
cases,
allowed in the United States of
Sir,
America.
let me just
That
finish.
is
We'll each
free
get a chance
speech.
to talk.
What you're trying
Well, he says flying the flag is free speech. Yes, it is. But let somebody talk about let a Democrat desecrate the flag. Didn't Colin Kaepernick take a knee?
He did, and see what happened to him.
So, Mr. President, you can say it's wrong to take a knee, but it's all right with flying the American flag upside down.
I didn't say that. Now you stop that sleepy music. I didn't say that.
Well, I'm just asking you, Mr. President. Don't you think they were wrong? Do you think they should be admonished for at least having the American flag upside down?
Well, like I said, they were talked to, and they have a yes. Pull to the side, nudge. You heard of those terms. And they had this little talking to, and they apologized.
Okay, let's continue then, Mr. President.
to do is weaponize this stuff
Congressman,
against
let me just
Judge
ask the
Alito. That's
question, then
wrong.
you can answer.
Sorry,
I'm glad to
it's
listen.
wrong.
To be clear, she flew two flags, both of which were associated with January 6th rioters at the Capitol. So in much the same way, whether there's money involved or not, doesn't that also potentially affect the position of, in this case, her husband, and in the other cases, you say, the daughter of a judge?
No, it does not, and you know better than that.
Isn't it the same comparison, though? You're saying on one case that Judge Merchan's daughter is responsible for Trump's conviction, but on the other case, you saying that the Judge Alito shouldn't be held accountable for what his wife does. How does that make sense?
The age difference.
What? The age difference, you said, Mr. President? Y'all heard it
Age
first.
differences.
Y'all heard
Like
it first.
with the wife, I wouldn't, grab her by the, but
You wouldn't-
with the
you
daughter,
wouldn't
I'll
grab her
grab
by-
her by hers. Yeah, I'll grab hers. Yes.
And you grab them young. You much prefer them younger when you grab them.
Yes.
Judge Clarence Thomas' wife is too old for you.
Yes, she is. I wouldn't grab hers.
You wouldn't grab hers. And she got some broad shoulders. She might have decked you if you grabbed her too.
Well, I'm safe then.
You're allowed to fly a flag like you're allowed to speak your mind. That does not mean that the judge is all of a sudden is tainted. But when the family is making money off of the actual trial that Judge Merchan is dealing with right now, that is an ethical issue, and he should have recused himself before the trial even started.
We'll let viewers make their own judgment. Congressman Byron Donalds, I appreciate your conversation. Apologize for any.
Okay, that was Congressman Byron Donalds right there, sir, ladies and gentlemen, and he had also a lot to say about us being, again, likened to being on back in the time of Reconstruction, back in the time of Jim Crow. We got one more clip here that we got to run across right quick, like before we let me remove this before we get on out of here. Sure, got one more clip I need to run across you, and this is what you get when you piss the wrong people off. Let me pull this clipper up. Hold on just 1 second. Okay. Like I said, folks, there's a lot of people out here I call Yassa bosses. I call them Yassa bosses. Wait a minute. Okay. Right here, where we're about to listen before we get out of here is Speaker of the not Speaker of the House, but he's the Republican leader, Hakeem Jeffries. That if Republicans take ownership of the House, he will become the Speaker of the House of that, I'm sure. And the Republicans have a slight majority right now, but it seems that the Democrats really do run the House, because you have the majority of the MAGA that's in there that's kind of made the Republican Party itself disappear. But again, we're always talking about we need more black people in politics. I hadn't heard too many folks from the YouTube streets talking about the work of Jasmine Crockett, AOC, Cory Bookham, and a few of the other young ladies that's in politics. If you go back and you type in black politics and you go to click to the pictures, you won't find too many pictures of black male men. That's absolutely true. If you look at Georgia, you got Stacey Abrams. You look at a woman of color. You look at you got a Republican Omar. You got AOC. You've got Jasmine Crockett. You have got the lady from Alaska. You got Maisie. I can't think of her name, from Alaska. But all of these folks are people of color, and they're women. But we can count on our hands when it comes to Congress how many black men are in there. Up until recently. So, but when we do get someone up in office, we have to sometimes remind them that it's not all about Yassa bossing. It's not all about we sick boss. It's not all about allowing you to take us back and set us back 50 years because you want to look good for a would-be candidate, or in this case, a convicted felon. And Hakeem Jeffries made it abundantly clear to Republican Representative Donald's stance on us going back here. Well, listen for yourself.
It has come to my attention that a so-called leader has made the factually inaccurate statement that black folks were better off during Jim Crow. That's an outlandish, outrageous, and out-of-pocket observation. We were not better off when a young boy named Emmett Till could be brutally murdered without consequence because of Jim Crow. We were not better off when black women could be sexually assaulted without consequence because of Jim Crow. We were not better off when people could be systematically lynched without consequence because of Jim Crow. We were not better off when children could be denied a high-quality education without consequence because of Jim Crow. We were not better off when people could be denied the right to vote without consequence because of Jim Crow. How dare you make such an ignorant observation? You better check yourself before you wreck yourself. I yield back.
You better check yourself before you wreck yourself, because brothers like that is bad for your health. Y'all know the real song goes. Y'all know how it goes. Keeping it real. And I keep it real with you right now, too, there, Congressman Donalds. You are absolutely out of your everlasting yazzabossing ass mind if you think that we were better off under Reconstruction and Jim Crow than we are now. Under Reconstruction, there was countless of black men, women, and children that were hung, that were, as they like to use the word, that were unalived, that you couldn't vote, that you couldn't drink from water fountains, that you couldn't use toilets, that you had to drive down, you had to go completely out of your way. You ever heard of sundown towns? There were so many things about Reconstruction on up until 2024 that's still happening today. You got the nerve as a sitting member of Congress to talking about we were better off. I can only imagine what this gentleman had to say about you behind closed doors. I'm sure he had to show his gentlemanly ways here. I don't have to. You're a disgrace. You're a disgrace to your ancestors. You're a disgrace to your mother. You're a disgrace to your father. You're a disgrace to your uncles and aunts. You're a disgrace to your child to say that we were better off. All in the behest of because you're trying to protect and run cover for a 34-count indicted, convicted felon. The only difference about Donald Trump and most convicted felons that he hasn't been sentenced yet. He may not get jail time, but that's the only difference. The two-tier justice system that you guys as Republicans are making, it's there because you allow it to exist. Donald Trump broke the law. Just like you or I. If I break the law, I'm held accountable. If Shaw breaks the law, she's held accountable. If Zero came up here and broke the law, he's held accountable. If Hakeem Jeffries broke the law, he's held accountable. If Barack Obama, they wanted to impeach him because he wore a tan suit. They're talking about Joe Biden and Hunter Biden made plenty of money off a foreign entity, but yet you got Donald Trump's son-in-law getting paid $2 billion by the Saudis for what?
Oh boy.
You got Donald Trump's daughter that has a trade deal with China. Where's the Republicans' outrage on that? You had a sitting member of Congress that lied about everything about his career. And when you didn't need him no more, you disposed of him.
That's the American way.
You allowed, you as a Republican base, you allow Marjorie Taylor Greene, that's in charge of such a small district, that before so-and-so time that she was never involved in politics. She was a mom that had nothing to do. This woman said that we got Jewish space lasers. But y'all taking her seriously, that she's running the politics, the betterment, the politics of the Republican Party. This woman, the very first day that Joe Biden became in office, she introduced articles of impeachment. Every congressman, folks, whether you're in South Carolina, whether you're in Georgia, whether you're in Illinois, every congressman has a record that you can look up to what they voted for and what they introduced. I implore you to go look up Marjorie Taylor Greene's record and see that she has done absolutely nothing except cause chaos and collect a paycheck. Lauren Boebert has done absolutely nothing except cause chaos and collect a paycheck. Matt from Florida, senator from Florida, has done nothing. These folks have done nothing to aid and help the American people. They have only tried to strip away from it. Go back and listen to some of the quotes that Matt Gaetz have said. Go back and listen to what Paul Gosar has said about the American people as an overall. Listen what they said about veterans. Listen what they said about homeless people. All in the behest of becoming Donald Trump's buddy. about a cabinet seat, all about staying in power. This is the crust of politics, and the only time they want to say us as black people that we make a difference in politics is when they need us every 2 or 4 years, and we, for the most part, allow it to happen. I ain't worried about politics. I heard people say one time, I ain't got to vote. It's not going to count. Yes, your vote does count. If it didn't, they wouldn't be trying to strip it from you. If you had a pocket full of gold and I kept trying to get it from you, wouldn't you tell me, wouldn't you, sooner or later, you would figure out that you got something in your pocket of value if every time I saw you, I tried to talk you out of it?
Mm-hmm.
And that's been happening for how long? We've had great leaders that's been killed at the behest of giving us the right to vote. But then you got folks like Congressman Donald up here that's gonna tell us that we haven't evolved past being damn near slaves. And we had to bow our head if we saw a white man walk in front of us. We had to switch to walk across the streets. Or as I was a kid, I remember a time growing up to where we had to go to the back door to be served, and the white man could have been scratching his ass, could have been scratching his balls, or we wanted some windmill cookies. He didn't wash his hands. He just stuck his hand in there and handed it to us with a plastic bag. We couldn't go in the store. Our money was good enough to spend at the back, but we couldn't go in the front.
Mm.
I remember the time when my sister was in the early 70s, in the middle 70s, when my sister was a civil rights advocate, that my mother had to change our phone number because folks was calling the number telling us they were going to blow up our house.
Wow.
So no, I might not be in politics. I might not be one of these ring generals like Hakeem, but I can tell you what this so-called Yassa Boss Republican, this Donald's whatever he did. No, got to vote him out. I guarantee the black vote put him in office, and the black vote would take him out of office.
Yeah, I don't know who voted for Mr. Donalds, but what I'm noticing with the few that you do see, they sound like they're in the manosphere.
They do, don't they?
Yeah, they seem like they're like 35 and under, and they all have that foolish yes a boss type of talk.
Right. Correct me if I'm wrong, Short. Now, I try to stay away from the YouTube streets as much as I can, but there is a correlation. Did we not hear BGS mention some of these same talking points that Donald said?
I don't know about BGS. I don't think it was him, but I know the fantastic guy and
Mr. Fantastic.
Some other guy that disappeared.
Right.
Yeah.
Angry Man. And remember, Angry Man was a staunch Trump supporter at one time, wasn't
he? Yeah.
Okay. So much so he was holding political commentary about what Trump was going to take away from y'all, especially y'all black women. No more welfare. When Trump gets in office, y'all had it.
I always thought about that. That was the weirdest thing, because I'm like, more men live with women, so if they take it away, then you all wouldn't have a place to stay.
Right, you ain't got no shade tree no more because she ain't got welfare no more. So nigga, you got to get out and get a job now because Uncle Sam ain't paying that. You ain't paying that $35 rent no more.
I always thought about that. I'm like, I wonder why they say that. That would affect them too. Okay.
Again, sure. We had the conversation over and over and over and over again. If black mamas put black daddies out so they could get welfare, where was the come up?
I want to know what states those and cities that happen and the number of people Because I know at that time, I think you still dial zero, the operator, to get connected, and not everyone had a phone. So how do people communicate to stick together like that?
Yeah. Again, they was talking about it in the '60s and the '70s and the '80s. You know, is there listen, the thing about the bad thing about it is there is a excuse me, there is an air of truth about what they say, but not to the extreme that it is. Yeah, there was that every man that was that idea. If you able-bodied man, you're not gonna just sit up in your house and not work and collect welfare. You got to get up your ass. Is that what they were talking about?
Yeah, I don't know. Because, for me, I don't say anything. I just have my own comments to myself. And if I'm able to ask the person, what do they mean? Then that's different. Because I'm the person, I got questions. I need more details than what you're saying. But I'm not going to argue with you. Okay.
Right. I got when you say I got questions, and I do. I got questions. For all this empirical data that you say that you folks collected, the best thing that you could come up with and says, and I ask personally, sure, do you in your life of growing up, do you know anybody that put their husband or their spouse out so they can collect welfare?
I don't know any, and I even thought back to my parents, their friends, and I couldn't think of not anyone. Now I
Right.
did hear something about domestic abuse.
Right. Nigga
Uh,
cheating. Nigga hit putting hands on him. Yeah, I put him out.
one guy, I think one guy he was cheating, and he had a baby with another woman, and then he started taking care of that house and wouldn't take care of his own, and that was, I think, about maybe 1978, something like that.
Right. But again, another valid reason to get your ass put out.
But I've never, heard. And at that time, it was they didn't get that much. They really didn't get that much, and wasn't no housing. So I don't
No,
know.
it sure was. It wasn't housing like that. You was on a list, and from what I understand, Section 8 wasn't something they just handed out to everybody.
Yeah,
No,
so I'm not for certain what that talk was about. I have no
right,
idea.
right. But again, if you go back and listen to the annals of this particular senator right here or House of Representative right here, this Representative Donalds, you go back and listen to his rhetoric. A lot of what he says is just what you hear over in the manosphere spaces. That we need to put ourselves up by the bootstraps. Well, I guarantee you, the Candace Owens of the world, you all say that. But I guarantee if I look back into your history, there was something that you got a boost from somebody, maybe a scholarship, or maybe this, or maybe that got you to the position of where you are. You leaned on your blackness and in other words, to get help. And believe me, there's nothing wrong with that because for me, I think it's only fair that as best as you can try and level the playing field as much as you can to get ahead. But that don't necessarily mean once you do get ahead, look back at everybody else and shit on them. And Clarence Thomas did. He don't even want to acknowledge the fact that it was affirmative actions that got him into a lot of the schools that he did. He don't consider that a badge of honor. He considered that as a scarlet letter.
Mm,
You know, there's a lot
yeah.
of people like that don't want to admit that that they put barriers in place, and because you was staunch enough, and because you stood on, as they say, because you stood on business, you was not going to let being black determine whether you can be at a position or not. You push the realms of this other system. If we listen to this guy right here, we'll step back and say, okay, boss, we good, we all right. We all right, boss. No problems.
Options. It's important that we answer these questions. Thanks for making time to speak with me.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about.
Oh, no, thank you. I don't want to watch that no more. But anyway, Char, again, the political climate, the political arena that we in, I never thought that I'd see the day that, in my days in the military, in my days of being, in the political arena, being watching my family be poll members, and of course, we always talking about political things around my family because they are that. So, my mom was a staunch person that donated to her favorite political candidate. She explained to us why she did or why she didn't support this candidate or that candidate. So I feel pretty comfortable about talking about the changes that I've seen over the years of to where it used to be taboo to talk about people and people's families, but now it seems to be commonplace. It used to be taboo to threaten people. They drive by people's house to dox people, but now it seems to be commonplace. It used to be you had to know what you was talking about in order to become a successful politician. Not that you were right, but at least you could fake the funk. Now we got folks like Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and a few of the others that have no interest in running the Congress. They're just there to create havoc.
Yeah.
So again, if you folks want to vote for Donald Trump, that's up to you. Me personally, I can't do it. I can't in good conscience, knowing that we as a country will have a convicted felon as a president. I'm not going to take it to the stream and say I'm going to move out the country like a lot of these folks are saying. Of course, I'm not. But I'm also not going to sit back and say that, hey, the greatness of a country is always decided because it crashed from within. If you put Donald Trump back in office, the democracy as we know it, the freedoms that we know it, will be a thing of the past. Any closing remarks from you, Shar, before we get out of here?
Thank you for inviting me.
All right. Thank you so very much, folks. Again, like, share, and subscribe to the broadcast if you don't mind. If you care to agree or disagree, please do not leave me a nasty gram, because if you do, what I'm going to do, Shar?
You going to get at them.
Let you know now. I'm going to let you know. I'm here to let you know. If you need me a nasty gram, I'm coming back with one. Okay, let you know that right now. So with that, folks, let me run a little bit of news at you, a daily news clip, and then Shar, go ahead. I'll mute up, and you can mute up, and we'll run this daily news at them, and then we'll go ahead and call this a wrap.
All right.
UNN Urban Network News, I'm Alexander Caden with a few things that are happening. An appeals court has ruled that a grant program for black women business owners is discriminatory. The ruling against the Atlanta-based Fearless Fund is another victory for conservative groups waging a legal battle against corporate diversity programs. In tennis, Coco Gauff will return to the French Open semifinals. Gauff won her first major title in the U.S. Open in September, then made it to the Final Four at the Australian Open in January. The Supreme Court told a lower court to take a fresh look at claims alleging the Republican-drawn congressional districts in Arkansas sought to minimize the black voter. Almost 2 million bottles of Fiji natural artesian water has been recalled. The FDA says the recall was issued due to manganese and other bacteria being discovered in some water samples. The affected bottles in question were sold on Amazon's e-commerce platform. South Africa is set to end 3 decades of dominance by the party that freed it from apartheid as voters angry at joblessness, inequality, and power shortages slashed the African National Congress share of the vote to 40%. That dramatically weakens the legacy party of Nelson Mandela, down from the 57.5% it got in the previous parliamentary election. When it comes to health, Xavier University in New Orleans is about to establish a new medical school. It'll be the 5th HBCU to offer medical studies alongside Howard University College of Medicine, Morehouse School of Medicine, Meharry Medical College, and the Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science. Xavier will be joined by Morgan State University, who is also working on setting up a medical school. Critics of a new Louisiana law which makes it a crime to approach within 25 feet of a police officer under certain circumstances fear that the measure could hinder the public's ability to film officers, a tool that has increasingly been used to hold police accountable.
Earn daily income every day working from home.
I wasn't looking to leave my full-time job. I was just looking for a way to generate a supplemental income.
Go to dailyincomeworks.com. dailyincomeworks.com.
You've been listening to UNN Urban Network News, and you can now watch UNN on our webpage at myunn.net. This is UNN Urban Network News. I'm Alexander Caden with a few things that are happening.